know me. It's frightening how many novels of suspense I've written. But still, when I'm not recognized, it just kills me.
You enter the chilling world of the Stephen King library. Imagine an exclusive collection of horror, Pet Sematary, The Shining, Christine, the chart toppers, the books that became blockbuster movies. The Stephen King library, where the master is coming back to haunt you.
Welcome to the 21st century, and we are back.
I don't know if that's a real song or if Larry just made that up.
I just made it up.
Oh, okay. If I'm missing another reference.
You can never tell with him.
Yeah.
I got the neck. I got the neck.
You
for
got
that.
something.
I got skills that do not pay the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geeking Poetic Podcast. You are listening to the ongoing saga of our retrospective we're doing about Stephen King. And we're talking about his books, his movies, and TV shows and adaptations. And we're doing it from the mid-90s through today. In the last hour that you heard of this, the other installment of it, we did the 90s, most of the 90s, because we had done this. We had started talking about Stephen King all the way back in, what was that, May of 2018?
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. It's almost 2 years ago now.
Literally a year and a half.
A year and a half ago.
Like that, right?
Yep. So we started talking about him then, and we went a little bit into the 90s, and then we said, okay, we'll talk more about this later, and we waited a year and a half. But with Halloween and everything, we thought it was a good time to do it. So here we are. And we left off with 1999's The Green Mile and talked a little bit about Tommyknockers and stuff like that. But now we are getting into the 2000s, and we're doing everything in order, and we are only talking about the stories that we want to talk about, that we have something to say. I got something to say.
A little bit of knowledge on. Not much.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have
We're
a ton
not
of knowledge.
experts.
No. We don't pretend to be. We're just kind of talking about it because it's just fun to talk about, because, I mean, King covers so much ground. Horror, non-horror, political, religious, scientific, all sorts of different stuff. So we're just kind of picking out some of the more notable stories from the last 30 years that we're at least one of us is familiar with, if not two or three of us. In some cases, all three of us are. And then we're just kind of saying whether it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down or a rent it or trash it or whatever, we're just going to kind of go along with that. So hopefully you have listened to the previous stuff we talked about. And if you haven't, then what the fuck are you doing here? What are you doing? What are you doing?
And maybe this round, we'll start trying to be a little more conscious about spoilers.
Yeah, we didn't really announce at the beginning that we were going to be getting into spoilers. And we're trying to, even though there are spoilers and stuff, we're giving away some details. I'm trying really hard not to spoil endings and stuff, because part of this too is that we hope that for some of you out there, you might be familiar with some of these stories and some of them you might not. And you might hear us talking about one and go, man, that sounds pretty cool. I should check it out. And I don't want to totally spoil it for you. If
that
you
would be bad.
Exactly, if you haven't checked it out. So, and it's, and I don't think I even announced this in the last one, but I'll just do it now. My name is Larry. Across the table from me, I have none other than
Vito.
And the little monster in the middle over here, as always, is our third erstwhile friend and companion, none other than
Megan.
Yep. So, and it's just the three of us sitting down here in this little studio basement kind of thing, talking about these great stories, and we're covering all of it, books, all different kinds of King media, pretty much. So. We'll let you know which one we're talking about when we get to the title. Speaking of that, the first story we're going to talk about is going to be the mini series that came out in 2002 entitled Rose Red. But I want to bring up something before we get into that.
Okay.
Which is, why was there a few years? How come Green Mile came out in 1999 and then we didn't really see or hear much from King in this area for a while? Like, because, I mean, Rose Red, you're talking 3 years. When you look at comparatively from the beginning of King's
something
career.
every year almost.
At least. I mean, a lot of times there were multiple things. There'd be a book or books, and then there'd be a miniseries, and there'd be movies. But there wasn't. And do you guys know why?
He decided to try to be part of Pet Sematary. For real?
I don't think he decided.
Maybe it wasn't his decision.
No, I don't think it was his decision. He was walking down in June of '99. He was walking down the shoulder of a road in Maine, nearby where he lived, and a guy who was driving a van and was distracted, was paying attention to his dog or something, was swerving around on the road, and he ended up hitting Stephen King and knocked him like 14 feet in the air, like really fucked him up. And he was in bad shape for a little while. He was in a lot of pain. And let me see. I see if I can find it. Yeah, he had a lot of injuries. He had a collapsed lung, multiple fractures in his leg. He had a lacerated scalp and a broken hip.
Yeah.
So, not cool. And he had a bunch.
When life imitates art. That sounds like one of his characters.
Doesn't it? It sounds a little bit like Misery.
He made his own Paul Sheldon there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness, I was just reading this. It says that the guy that hit him thought he hit a small deer until he noticed the bloody spectacles lying on the front seat of his van.
What?
Yeah.
In the van?
In the van is
How
what
the
it says.
Well, probably broke the glass, Probably
He
broke
probably
the
went up and
windshield.
hit the windshield.
I mean, he hit him good. He got that sucker good.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, thankfully, he was hurt pretty bad, but thankfully Stephen lived.
And he wrote Dreamcatcher right after that.
Yes, yeah. He also worked on Rose Red, which some
That's
people
what we're going to focus on instead.
Okay, good.
some people say is a good thing, and some people say is not such a good thing.
Didn't he love this one?
Yeah, he did. Well, this story, he was it was meant to be like a remake of it was based kind of on The Haunting, the old movie The Haunting. Robert Wise did The Haunting, which was then kind of based on Haunting of Hill House, which is actually a really cool series.
I heard it was.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked it out yet, but I heard it was really
good. Yeah, I'm not done with it, but I've started watching that, and it's pretty good. So he originally wanted this to be a movie that he was going to do with Spielberg, which, like, wow, that could have been something. And that did not happen. He got injured, and Spielberg kind of like fell out of interest in this and stuff. And, I understand that different people have different impressions of what is scary and what is, But I remember when this was coming out and the way it was being promoted was that they were like, oh, this is going to be so scary for being on TV and everything. Like, wow, this is going to be like a, just grab a hold of somebody, just grab tight of that seat because boy, oh boy. And I like this story. I like this movie, but it's not that scary.
No, it's not.
No, because Meg, you've seen it.
I've seen it.
It's a cool story. What it basically has to do with is there is a house that was built at the turn of the century, 20th century, and a lot of sad things happened in the house. Like there was a lot of murders and unexplained deaths and different things that happened in the house that revolve around this wife and her husband who built this house. They were rich, eccentric, and stuff.
Much like the Winchester house.
Okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Where she kept adding onto it and adding onto it.
Right. She keeps building because one Wasn't it like
A psychic or
a psychic
something?
told her that as long as the house was never finished, then she would be like immortal because she was like tied to the house in a way.
See.
And the house was take a guess where the house was built. What was it built on?
Old Indian burial ground?
Wow, really? How did you guess that?
The Wendigo showed up? Is that what happened?
Wow.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? The Wendigo from Pet Sematary?
Wendigo, yeah, something like that, yeah. But it's, boy, we never touch on that trope at all, do we? How do we explain why this house is haunted? Indian burial ground every time.
Well, it would make sense that he wanted to team up with Steven Spielberg, I guess, right?
Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Yep.
True.
So anyway, there's a lot of typical tropes and stuff that happen in this, and what happens is there's a local scientist that works at the college nearby that is infatuated with the story of the house, which is called Rose Red, and
That's an understatement.
yeah, and she ends up hiring a whole team of different kinds of psychics that she wants to bring in. They think they're just there for kind of research purposes and stuff. But
It sounds oddly like Puppet Master 2.
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Because Vito would bring up a sequel. That's
Well,
why.
it's mostly combining Puppet Master 1 and 2 because Puppet Master 1 had a bunch of different psychics that had different powers in the house.
Yeah.
And then Puppet Master 2 is scientists researching. But
Right.
I digress.
I
anyway.
get it. I mean, I know it's Puppet Master's okay.
Like I said,
Puppet
lots
Master.
of tropes.
But I don't know the way he said that. It was so earnest.
Yeah.
It was one of the things where you'd be like explaining something. It's like, and him just be like, this sounds suspiciously an awful lot like Ginger Dead Man 3, The Passion of the Crust.
Actually, Ginger Dead Man 3 is Roller. What was it called? I don't remember the tagline.
Was it 2 that was The Passion
2
of the
is
Crust?
Passion of the Crust, yeah.
But my apologies to all you hardcore Ginger Dead Man fans out there. But
And
you know what I
for
mean?
the record, skip Ginger Dead Man 2. 'Cause it's not good.
I think you should just skip all the Ginger Dead Man
One and
movies.
3 are good.
Boy.
Oh boy. If the whole world is not sitting here just in agreement that the fucking sequel man segment of our show is long overdue. Because Vito is sequel man.
Yeah.
Anyway, it turns out she's taking them into this house because she wants to reawaken the
dormant house.
because
Okay.
it's supposedly lied dormant. But then there's reasons you find out that it actually isn't dormant. There's reasons why it hasn't come to life, and it has to do with one of the people who gets brought into the house, and there's connections, familial connections, and all this stuff. It's a really cool story.
The first couple of episodes had me hooked, line, and sinker. I was
Yeah.
so excited to go back and watch the rest of it, and it quickly fell apart.
Yeah, it's
It's
another.
like such cool storylines they started and then just did nothing with.
And it's another one where the end. Well, it's the end. It's the curse of the Stephen King ending. It's like, man, your endings suck. However, that being said, Vito, I think you should watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many parts is it?
How many? Oh gosh, 3 nights.
Oh.
It was aired
I was
over-
saying it's like an 8-part series or something like
No.
that. So, okay.
Yeah, it was aired over 3 nights, January 27th through the 29th in 2002. Another thing about it is, for as much money and everything that went into making this, because they made a big deal out of it at the time, it ends up coming off more like a early to mid 90s miniseries than something you would have gotten in the 2000s. By the 2000s, we had some pretty amazing shit out there. We had The Matrix and, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
We had some pretty amazing stuff. And I get that it's made for TV, but there's just things and stuff, effects and different stuff they do in there that I go, oh, come on. Really, you couldn't do better than that. It's a pretty cool cast.
Has Rose from 2.5 Men. That's sister, yeah, Melanie.
Yeah, Melanie Linsky.
Mm-hmm. Had one of the guys from It's Always Sunny, one of the fucked up dudes in that one.
Oh God, who did he
What was
play?
his name? He was the reporter.
Oh, okay. He was Bollinger. So
Yeah.
Jimmy Simpson. Okay, yeah. Zoe Deschanel's sister Emily is in it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's especially for somebody like you. I think for some of you out there that have a little bit more refined tastes in your miniseries, and a lot of you probably like, oh, I don't like miniseries. I hear that all the time. I'm sure you do. Yeah, I hear that all the time. Oh, the miniseries are always so bad and corny and everything. Vito is all about the miniseries. Yeah. He grew up on them. Yeah, so I get it.
What can I say? They're
endearing. And here's the thing. So that being said, and we'll move on from this, I give Rose Red a being fairly generous by doing this. I give it a thumbs up.
Okay.
As do I.
I think it's got redeeming qualities to it. It's worth watching. Just don't buy the hype that, oh my God, this movie's so scary and everything.
It's not scary.
It's got some tense moments and it's got some cool ideas in it and stuff, but it's not the kind of thing that's going to give you like major nightmares. At least not most people, maybe some people, but
not us people.
So moving on, keeping on the television tip of things, that same year, they came out with a series based on The Dead Zone. Now, are you guys familiar with the original Dead Zone book and movie?
Vaguely.
I really, really, really enjoy the book, except when they get to the last assassinations.
Except the end.
Yeah, I kind of zone out during that part.
Gotcha.
I have seen the movie with Christopher Walken. I did enjoy that.
I like the movie better.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like the movie better. I think we talked about this in that first episode.
Yeah.
I like the movie better than the book. Well, they decided to do a TV show on USA Network, and it was a six season show. It did well. It has its following. I really liked it. I have to admit, though, I can't comment too much on it because I only watched like the first 4 seasons. I don't think I ever saw seasons 5 and 6. I don't know how it ends, so I can't spoil it for anybody.
It'd be awesome if you went to space in those 2 seasons.
I would not be surprised. I know that all I remember was the whole thing that they said that in the 6th season they were going to do like a big change, and I was like, okay.
I think we talked about that a little bit too, maybe. That sounds vaguely familiar to me.
Yeah. But it never, they never properly finished it. It was a good looking show. It had cool effects. Anthony Michael Hall plays the main character, the walking character. He's such a good actor, man. Most of us remember him as being the nerd in the John Hughes movies and stuff, but he was wonderful in that. But he was really good in this role. And, he really made the character a little more endearing than Walken did. Because Walken's just so weird. No, Anthony Michael Hall did a much more down to earth, endearing version, and of course it was a series, so it was like all these different adventures, and it's a different take. It's based on, you know what I mean?
Because it's like an episodic, like this one doesn't relate to the previous episode.
Right. It was done by Lionsgate. And everything, and a great show. Yeah, I mean, I know you guys don't have much to say about it and everything. Excellent show. You can find them pretty easily online, and I know you can get the whole seasons pretty cheaply on DVD. You could find them for next to nothing. So, I recommend it. It's good. You would like it. All right, so again, we are keeping it with the TV, and this one. This one will be interesting to talk about. This one is a remake. Now we're getting into more remakes. We already had the remake with The Shining. Now we have our next miniseries remake of Salem's Lot. Now, anybody who knows me and has listened to our other stuff knows that Salem's Lot is my favorite. I love Salem's Lot. I love the 1979 miniseries. I know it's cheesy and it's of its time and all that kind of stuff. But that being said, I still think that first one is scary. You know, for a 1979 TV show, it's scary. Okay, this one,
Not so much.
no. Did you watch it?
No.
You've seen it though, right?
I watched it, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of it?
I knew the story because we watched the other one. I had a hard time following it for some reason. Like, I don't understand what's going on at this moment. And like the parts that are scary in the first one are not even close to scary in this one.
Not even.
Like, they had like the kid in the window. That was creepy as shit.
In the original,
In the original. And this one, they put him like behind a curtain in the hospital.
Really?
And he's like, "Oh, I'm at the curtain." I'm like, "You
Yeah,
gotta invite me in."
Even the way he's like,
"Move the curtain."
even the way he's acting it, the Glick boys and the way they did their makeup and the eyes and just the whole way they did it, even though, you know, I know they're obviously on wires and it's fucking creepy. And the way they do that with the backwards smoke.
Yeah, that's great.
And all that, and that music and stuff and the setting, it's chilling, you know? This did not have that. And it's like, oh, what a disappointment. You made this in 2004. You had so much good technology and stuff. Plus, unlike the original one that was done for CBS in the 70s, which had all sorts of limitations, this was done for cable television. So you could get darker, you could get more violent, you could get more sinister. And it's not at all. Like,
Don't even get us started on that freaking vampire.
oh my God. So I'm sorry. I know that in the book, Barlow, the head vampire, the main vampire, is not a Nosferatu. And that was a lot of people's complaints, as they said, oh, Toby Hooper changed it to this Nosferatu that wasn't the way it was in the book. He was actually supposed to be more of a man and everything. And so once again, we get to the whole thing of, no, by gum, we have to make it more true to the book. Man, it doesn't work as well, because in this one, they got Rutger Hauer to play Mr. Barlow. Now, I like Rutger Hauer quite a bit in a lot of his stuff. He's not scary. He's not intimidating. He's kind of a douche. Like, you're just sort of like, and by things that I've read, because it stars Rob Lowe, who, let me say this, Rob Lowe is good in this.
Yes.
Yeah.
I dig
back
Rob
that.
Lowe. Rob Lowe, another holdover from The Stand.
Yep,
You know, he was also in The Stand. Rob Lowe does a very good job as Ben, right? Ben,
yeah.
And he does a good job as him. There's good acting in this. Don't get me wrong. There is some good acting in this. There's less corny acting, I guess you could say, in some of this than there is in the 70s one. But I guess that's kind of to be expected. But everything else pales in comparison. I think the effects in this one aren't as good as the 70s
Not
one.
even close.
It's not as scary. It's not as sinister. There's a couple parts where you're like, ooh, okay, yeah, that's a little weird and creepy. But man, all the things that made the original Salem's Lot miniseries work in lieu of all their downfalls, they don't have any of that in this. And yeah, and it, again, because it's more like the book, it ends differently. It ends totally differently. I don't know. I hate to say this because I wanted so bad to like it, but I'm going to have to give the 2004 Salem's Lot a thumbs down. It's not a hard fuck you thumbs down because I do still think it's worth watching. If you've seen the original one, here's why I think it's worth watching, Vito. So like you, I think it's worth watching because I would hope that it make you like the original one better.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He's going to end up watching and be like, I really like this
one.
Maybe I wouldn't give it a thumbs down. I'm going to give it a neutral.
Mine's a neutral thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm giving it like a sideways thumb, you know? Like it's not horrible. It's totally watchable. It's just like, oh man. Now that being said, again, the story that I have is that they are doing another remake.
Jeez.
But maybe they can get it right this time.
How many
Maybe.
vampire movies do we need, man?
Yeah, but this is one of the best ones, in my opinion.
If they do it right.
I wish I could say we were moving on to something better.
We are.
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
No, we're not. We are moving on to a feature film that is the story Secret Window. Came out in 2004.
Johnny Depp.
Who, I'm a fucking love Johnny Depp, man. Big Johnny Depp fan.
Absolutely.
But unfortunately, has some clunkers. And
But it's not this.
Oh, it sure as fuck is.
I remember seeing the trailer for this back in the day, and I didn't know what the fuck it was supposed to be.
It
So I
creeped
never
me
watched
out.
it. Is this based off Secret Window, Secret Garden, or something like that
Yes.
as a novella? Or
Yes,
whatever?
it is.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
then,
I have no idea what any of this
Okay.
is about. So
Well, yeah. So Johnny Depp is he's a mystery writer. Really? Wow.
That's
You're telling me
not
the main character in a Stephen King story is a fucking writer of a book? I mean, God, he never does that.
No.
He only does that in every fucking story.
oh, not
single
everyone.
90% of them.
And I go 95.
I'm going to go 85 on that one. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe over under, I guess.
Listen, guys, 85 to 95%
It's still pretty fucking high.
is a fucking lot.
Well, you're right what you know, man.
Yeah.
You know?
It's true.
3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3. What the fuck is wrong with King? Come on, man. Can you come up with somebody? Do you have to put yourself in the main, character role of every story? Come on, man. Anyway, I mean, you're the one that's a fan of this. Do you want to take point on this? Is there some you want to say?
Okay, so Johnny Depp's character, can't think of his name, but
Mort.
Mort. Oh, that's right. It is Mort.
His name is Mort.
Mort.
Jesus Christ. This is already off to a bad start.
But he has a writer's block. He is getting divorced from his wife. And he's moved into this cabin and he's trying to write and everything. And this guy shooter comes to his door and says, "Hey, you stole my story. You have to give me credit." And he's like, "No, I put it out first." So he's like trying to find this, like focused on proving he wrote it first.
Okay.
A lot of shit happens. People get hurt. And it turns out that he's fucked up in the head. And
Mort?
Mort.
Yeah.
Mort is fucked up in the head. Well, I don't want to give too much away. So Mort ends up like kind of looks in the mirror, he puts on this hat and everything. He actually he's shooter. He is shooter.
Okay.
But he's like Mort is the good guy, shooter's the bad
I
guy, and
see.
he's the one hurting all these people. So he did plagiarize his story because it was his story.
I gotcha.
And it's just like in My Pretty Little Liars, they did the same thing. The girl split personalities, and the one committed all the murders.
Okay.
And
That
she kept
sounds-
herself. So
That sounds interesting.
yeah, and then secret window. There he is yelling fucking blows from the bathroom. He's literally shitting on this movie. So yeah, but he has a secret window that's up in the cabin, and he looks down on the secret garden where bodies are buried.
I see.
So, and I just gave away the whole goddamn movie. I just did exactly what I said I was going to do.
Oh, well.
So pretty much.
That sounds interesting. I actually would want to see that.
Yeah, it is very good. And that's the kind of shit that it fucks with my head because it's all internal. It's like somebody could seem normal, but they could switch on you like that.
Yeah.
And they don't even know that they're fucked
Right,
up.
right.
To them, they're normal. They don't realize they're this other half. And that's just creepy to me.
And it's scary that your mind can do that and you're not even aware of that.
Right.
You know?
It's a cool concept. It's just not done very well, I think.
Have either of you read the work, like the actual book or whatever?
No,
No.
honestly, I haven't. I'd be curious. I saw the movie and it just turned me off so bad. Okay, here's the thing. To be fair, I probably need to watch it again because the movie just made such a bad impression on me.
Mm-hmm.
at the time. I don't know if it was because it was like not what I was expecting it to be. I just remember it was another one of these movies where I have a hard time when I don't find myself endeared to or liking any of the characters. I don't like Johnny Depp. I didn't like fucking Shooter. I didn't like any of them. I mean, it's like, the Mort's dog, who bites it. I mean, that's probably the only redeeming character in the whole fucking movie.
The dog?
Yeah. Shooter kills the dog.
Yeah. And these names, Shooter and Mort.
Does Shooter shoot the dog, or is he kind of...
I don't remember.
I keep thinking of Shooter McGavin from fucking Happy Gilmore.
Anyway, so you give it a solid thumbs up.
I would give it a solid thumbs up. I really enjoyed this movie when I watched it.
I give it a thumbs down with the caveat that I will watch it again sometime.
Okay.
And see if
something.
I feel differently about it. But I really disliked this movie when I got it.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
Oh, and so now we are moving on to another Megan
favorite.
Oh, she loves this one. She loves it.
Jesus.
I thought you told me that you were like, man, this is one of my favorite books I've ever read.
No, don't think that's what I said at all. I know that's not what I said. I barely made it through this one. This one was rough, man.
And which one is this?
This is 2006 Lisi's Story.
Yeah. I did not read this. You have not read it, right?
No. Is this the one where there's like a book in the attic and she's reliving memories or something?
No.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of, I guess, maybe. What happens is her husband is a writer. I know. And
wow.
I know. And he died 2 years ago. And she's working on cleaning out his studio. And King actually got the idea for this for this book, possibly becoming a movie soon, actually.
Yeah, 2020.
In 2020.
Really?
J.J. Abrams.
No shit.
Yeah, I might have to give this another shot just for that, but we'll see.
And the main character is going to be played by Julianne Moore.
Really?
Yep.
Julianne Moore is the bomb. So.
Yeah, I like Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, they might be able to redeem it, but we'll see.
And Clive Owen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
anyway,
see.
you go on.
So
explain.
anyway, so he got the idea for the story because when he had his accident, he was in the hospital. His wife was like cleaning up his office and everything, and he came home to find all his shit in boxes. He's like, "This is what my life would look like after I'm dead." So he wrote this book where the writer died, and the wife's left to clean up the office space. And there's these people that are diehard fans, and they keep wanting her to turn over his unpublished books and everything. And she's like, "No, I'm not ready. You can't have it. I'll give it to you when I'm down, well, good and ready. Leave me alone. I'm not ready." And she's got these two sisters. I don't even know three sisters, I think. I don't know. They have nothing to do with this fucking story. I don't even know why they're in this book. Other than, I don't know. And then everybody in the book has like 6 nicknames. I was like, really? Do we need 6 nicknames for everybody? Can we just have one name? Or maybe 2, a nickname for somebody? I got very confused on who's who at points. He just kept repeating himself over and over and over again. It's like, I get it. The husband was a quick healer. Like, oh, but Lisi is a quick healer. Lisi. I don't know. It was very annoying. And they kept making up words for other things.
You mean like how he could transport himself to Booyah Moon?
Booyah Moon was his other world he could transport him to.
What?
Vito's like, no, I'm out.
Yeah. Booyah fucking moon. What kind of dumb name is that?
So does she like end up? I kind of vaguely remember reading something about this. Does she like go into like a world that he created or something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because one of the people that wants his stories ends up like stalking her, and he like abuses her and mutilates her and kills a cat that he thought was hers, but it's just a barn cat. And
I don't like that.
No,
yeah, I didn't either.
cool.
He like shoves it into the mailbox and stuff, and really fucked up dude. And she ends up, her and the sister end up going to Booyah Moon, and this guy comes, and some creature in Booyah Moon, you can't be there at night because you're not protected.
Yeah. You know what you're going to be happy to learn?
Yeah.
That not only are they adapting this, it's going to be an 8-part miniseries.
Yeah, because he wants to make for sure that the full story is in it. I was like, are you fucking goddamn kidding me? Because if it's a movie, you can't get the whole story. They have to cut things out. I was like, you need to cut things out. Because it even said in like the end thing where he's like, my editor, she's like, she really made me take out a lot in this. It's like, oh my God, are you serious? She made you take out a lot. He's like, so don't blame her. It's like, if you have to say that, you put too much shit in there. That doesn't matter. I had a really hard time with this one.
Yeah, I only know like the basic synopsis of it. I didn't read it, so
yeah,
you took one for the team.
That one I did. I will give this new series a shot. J.J. Abrams, Julianne Moore, Clive Owens. I'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. But
it sounds pretty terrible to me. So I don't know.
Well, you never know. The thing is sometimes the way things translate off the page onto film, onto the screen, makes it different. It could translate better as a movie, whatever, miniseries, TV show.
It could.
You have other instances where things do not translate well off the page into an 8-part miniseries. Yeah, we will talk about that.
For sure.
Yeah, I would be very happy if they just completely rewrote this story and put it into the movie. I'd be fine with that.
Well, that could actually happen because there's a precedent for that.
It could.
We're not ready to get to that.
Nope, we'll get there.
Because, boy, we're leading up to a Larry explosion coming up soon. But you're not there yet. So you're going to give the book for...
Big 2 fucking thumbs down with my toes thumbs down, too.
Oh, don't say toes.
Big toes down.
Don't say toes. You're going to make Vito hurt.
I'm going to finish breaking off Vito's toe and give that a thumbs... Make that go down, too.
Vito... If you didn't listen, I'm sure you probably listened to the first part of this, but I broke Vito's toe the other night. And I feel really bad about it. He's being a good sport and trying to ignore the pain, but so let's just not talk about toes. Anyway, all right.
Moving on, please.
Yeah, moving on. We're still firmly entrenched here, getting into the second half of the first decade of the 21st century. Now we are moving on to 2007's The Mist.
Yes.
Okay. Now here's the thing. You guys have seen it. I have honestly never seen it.
Have you read the novella?
No.
Do you kind of know what the basics are of the story?
I do kind of know what it's about. Yes.
I don't know why I thought we touched on this in the last one too.
I think I might have mentioned it in
Maybe.
our honorable mentions, but we're like, yeah, but it's past our cutoff point or something like that.
Maybe that's
now,
it.
didn't they make this twice? Isn't there like a 2007 movie and then like a 2017
There's like a TV
miniseries kind of thing?
Oh.
Okay.
I heard the miniseries was not good at all.
Yeah.
I have not seen any of that. I've only read the novella and seen the movie, the Frank Darabont movie, which is, in my opinion, very excellent. Especially the ending, man. The ending is phenomenal.
This actually has a good ending?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's because they rewrote it. It's not
it's
and
always
Stephen,
the key.
The rewrite.
And Stephen King prefers the movie ending than his book ending.
As well he should.
Yeah. I won't spoil the ending, but I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the ending because that's like what everybody talks about is how awesome it is. But basically this book and movie have the perfect setup to me, which is the military branch or a government branch opens up a portal and creatures come out of it and fuck up humans, which is one of the coolest plot lines you could ever think of.
That's got Vito written all over it.
And there's this mist that takes over the town, and these creatures are actually inside the mist because it's expelled from this portal that was created. And a group of townspeople get trapped inside a grocery store where they cannot leave.
Right.
And dude, there's like these spider things that shoot these acid webs. Oh, it's so fucking awesome. Now, the movie does have some bad CGI in it, so I will give you that. Right. But there's these cool tentacles that will come in and literally like yank people off screen, which is a gag that I am totally in love with. And I just love the setting, the storyline. There's some weird like religious cult lady that everybody kind of flocks to, which is detrimental to the story, I think, because people turn too quickly. They've only been in the grocery store for like 12 hours.
And people are already,
they're already going for this witch hunt where they want to kill this guy and the kid because they think he's the devil and all this shit. So
the devil.
Yeah, that kind of goes off the rails. But dude, the ending of the movie is fucking dark and it's fucked up.
I literally just read this quote. It said, there should be a law passed stating that anybody who reveals the last 5 minutes of this film should be hung from their neck until dead.
Jesus. That's darker than the movie. Wow. Yeah, I very much want to see this. It sounds pretty cool.
It is.
Yeah, I didn't know very much about this, but I knew basic stuff like it's another Frank Darabont adaptation. He's pretty good. He's got a good record for, taking the stories and making them into something. And I also know that what's kind of interesting about it, especially given the premise, is that a huge chunk of the Walking Dead cast is in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Jeffrey DeMunn, Laurie Holden, Melissa McBride, Juan Gabriel Pareja are all in that. So yeah, 4 or 5 of them. And it's kind of funny because, you think about things like them getting trapped in a supermarket and being hunted by these undead creature, whatever supernatural creature kind of things. It's like, oh, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Of course, this came first, but
yeah. I've never seen The Walking Dead. I might have seen the first episode, and I just could not.
Really?
I could not get into it, man.
Really?
Yeah. For me, zombie movies, dude, they're gonna be in the 80s or miniseries, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. So you give this a solid thumbs up?
Oh, 2 solid thumbs up, my friend.
Megan, what do you
I would do a thumbs up.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So we can't say too much more about it, but it's highly recommended. One that is, I already know just from the little bit I've talked to her, that is highly recommended is 2007's 1408.
Fucking loved this movie.
Yeah.
I think this is my #1 Stephen King movie. Out of every movie, this is it.
That you don't like Lears, huh? That's surprising, but okay.
I know. I went a little extreme there. But yes, I know it had mixed reviews on how people felt about it, but I fucking love this movie. John Cusack was amazing in it. Samuel L. Jackson was fucking amazing in it, of course. Again, one of those another psychological movies where you're put on repeats and have same horrific shit happen to you over and over and over, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can keep trying to escape it, but it's going to keep sucking you back in.
That's a scary thought.
That shit freaks me out. So, and yeah, it was really well done. I enjoyed the special effects about it. He'd say something and you're like, that's weird how that happened. And then it happened. You're like, oh, that makes sense now. I mean, some things it was predictable and corny, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've only seen parts of it, but the parts I saw, I was like, damn, that's really cool. Like when he looks out the window and he sees that old-timey frame stuff going on, and there's like a woman in like a carriage or something, and then the time travel aspect or whatever, where he sees into the past, I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Now, did you know that they filmed 4 different endings for this?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they clued it. They made it like Clue.
That makes it even cooler.
Yeah. In addition to the ending that appears, I'm reading this, in addition to the ending that appears in the theatrical release, which is also the default ending of the theatrical release DVD, 3 alternate endings were shot. The incentive for filming 3 alternative endings was based on the director's belief that King's intention in his original story was to leave the conclusion ambiguous. But none of the 4 endings match the ending of King's original story. So there's technically, I guess, 5 endings.
All right, so I need to go read the book now and find these other endings.
Yeah, so there's the one that you know.
Okay.
Well, there's a theatrical ending. I can't read it because I don't want to give anything
it away.
And I don't know which one you saw. Did you see the theatrical or did you see the director's cut one?
Probably theatrical.
Yeah, I don't know, because from what you told me about it, it doesn't have, then there's a director's cut ending.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's specified because I just did it on Amazon.
Because then it says, and then there's a second alternate ending. There's a third alternate ending. Yeah, you'll have to look into these and later and tell me which one it is that is the ending they did. But that actually intrigues me now. I mean, I've wanted to see this. I'm a big John Cusack fan. I went and saw John Cusack do a live Q&A earlier this year. And at one point during the Q&A, something came up about 1408, and a sizable chunk of the audience hooped and hollered, and he acknowledged, he's like, it's one of those ones that people either just fucking hate it and they just are don't like it, don't get it, but then it's got its fans that are no, that's one of the best, and obviously Meg is
I am
on that
a
boat.
fan.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it, every bit of it.
Okay.
3,000 thumbs up.
Interesting. Yeah, the third alternate ending is the one that they show on Netflix in Japan.
Well, I saw this. It says test audiences didn't like the original ending.
Right.
And that's the one I saw.
You saw the original ending.
Yeah.
The one
what this describes here, which I'm not going to say, but that's, is the original.
And you like that ending?
Yeah.
Yeah,
why
they
didn't
thought
anybody
it was
think
a
of that
downer.
sooner? Well, it's a fucking Stephen King book. Of course it's a downer.
Well,
the whole premise of
the whole premise
did they
of
miss
this.
the whole point of everything?
Well,
he basically is like a skeptic, right? And he goes in to try
Yeah, because he's a writer. I know.
oh my God.
Yeah, I know. I know. He's a writer. He goes around to these hotels and they're supposed to be haunted, and he basically proves them wrong. It's like nothing fucking happened. I go in with all this equipment, nothing ever happens. And he got a postcard saying, don't go to the Dolphin Hotel in New York and do not stay in room 1408, which of course he promptly goes to New York, Dolphin Hotel, and asks for 1408. And Samuel Jackson's character, he's the manager there. He's like doing everything possible. Do not go in that room. He's like, I'm begging you. Here's my files. I have every death. There's 57 deaths that's happened in this room, this one room. I have everything on it. You can read it. Just, you can stay in the room next door to it. Just do not go in that room. And he's like, yeah, no, I'm going to go in that room. He's like, I fucking told you. Because it's by law, if the hotel has the room free, they can't not give it to you. So he's like, no, I'm taking that room. And they're like, well, by law, I can't say no. I tried to talk you out of it, but I can't say no. So here you go.
Let me guess. The room knew who he was and called him into the room.
Yeah, it never really specifies who calls them in.
That sounds like a King thing to do.
Yeah. And I don't want to give too much more away about the postcard and stuff.
Yeah,
it comes back later.
Okay.
But yeah, so the room is evil. It's just pure evil. And that's what keeps fucking with them. And they're like, nobody lasts more than an hour in that room. And John's like, whatever, I'm going in there. Nothing's going to happen. I'll see you tomorrow.
I like that concept. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah.
Just like an evil room.
Yeah.
Reminds me of the movie Ghost Ship. Really, really good movie. We've talked about that before.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I thought you were going to say Cube, but
no, well, Cube is good, but it doesn't have any supernatural
That's
possessive
true.
properties to it.
Right.
And Event Horizon's another one that's kind of like that. It's really good.
Right. All right, so hardcore thumbs up. For
Hardcore,
Megan.
definitely thumbs up.
So finally, moving on to a veto book, we have 2008
The Duma Key.
Duma Key. Is it a
Duma
November's
Key.
Duma Key? Yeah. So I don't
There it
know.
is.
I honestly don't know anything about Duma Key. So
Nope. This is all you, Vito.
This is all you, man.
So basically, quick summary. There's this guy who worked construction. He was in an accident where he lost, I believe, his left arm, and he got pretty fucked up. And to do some physical therapy, he had some mental issues where he was turned very violent against his wife. They ended up getting divorced, and he has at least one daughter, maybe another child. But anyway, his therapist says that, hey, listen, you were a painter as a kid. You should get back into painting to kind of rejuvenate yourself. So he moves down to Florida in one of these keys, rents a house on the beach, and starts painting stuff. But the thing is, he's starting to paint some stuff that becomes reality, and some of it's not good.
Like Rose Red, kind of. The
Okay,
autistic girl,
yeah.
because she paints the pictures
Right,
and makes
right.
makes it come to life.
So what happens is he starts painting some stuff, and it's like bringing the spirit back to the world, who starts targeting people that he knows, and stuff goes horribly wrong. He meets a guy on the island or whatever that says, hey, listen, I know what's going on. We've got to do this kind of stuff. And there's an old woman who kind of knows what's going on, so they got to team up and try to combat this evil spirit while all this crazy stuff's happening to his family off the island back in like Minnesota or whatever. It's very, very cool. A lot of creepy
Yeah.
stuff, and yeah,
That sounds pretty cool.
I
But
recommend
it does
it.
actually. Have
See,
to check that one out.
that's what I said. That's what I enjoy about doing this, is because then it's like, oh, okay. That sounds like something that would be worth checking out that I'm not, you know what I mean? There's so much to check out. I'd heard the title of this, but I knew nothing about it. So nice.
That's a good one.
Do you think it's one that could be adapted?
Yes, I would like to see an adaptation of it. I don't know if you need an 8-part miniseries adaptation, but
Yeah,
you know,
well,
a
those don't
yeah.
always work out for the best anyway.
But a two-nighter would be good for that one.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, so big thumbs up from you.
yeah.
All right, and Meg and I have a couple of curious question marks for it.
Yep.
I think we're getting close. Yeah, we're getting to the end of the first decade, the 2000s. And we are ending with 2009 book, which was then also later made for a TV series known as Under the Dome.
This book is another really, really great book, which Stephen actually started writing back in the 60s or 70s, possibly.
Right.
But he didn't really know where to go with it, because I think he needed to do a lot of research on what would happen when you... Basically, the story of the book is this gigantic clear dome falls over this town, and no one can get out of the dome. They're
Right.
trapped. So his thing was, well, what would happen inside the dome? What kind of atmosphere would happen? Would it have an effect on the weather and stuff like that? And that's what tripped him up when he started first writing it. He's like, I don't have time to research all this stuff.
Right.
I'm going to shelve it. And then 30 years later, or whatever it was, he did not see the Simpsons movie, so he wrote the book and it came out. And that's...
Yeah, pretty much.
And things in this town are... There's one of the most evil characters he's ever written is in this book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of, fucked up stories that happen to this town and what the town is surrounded around. And the ending is a little bit...
Stephen King.
Yeah, it takes kind of a left turn at one point. We're like, what the fuck? But it is what it is. But leading up to that, the characters are great. It's just a really, really good book. Now, I have not seen this miniseries. I heard it's not that great.
You haven't seen the
No,
miniseries?
I have not,
Yeah,
no.
see, I haven't either.
There's literally like 50 characters.
Yeah.
And he
Oh,
has them, I
goodness.
think, listed by name and what they each
Right.
do. So you
to
can
try
kinda,
and keep track of
Yeah,
it.
because there's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
many.
because I actually got that in audiobook, so that's...
I have the audiobook too, but I did not make it through the whole thing. I don't know if I didn't like the narrator or whatever,
Yeah.
but
I've never heard the
Huh.
audiobook.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't started it yet,
Okay.
so I may have to get a copy of those
Yeah,
characters.
I think I got maybe 5 or 6 hours in, and I just didn't listen to it anymore. But the book is really good.
Yeah, it's another one of those that by some people, it's highly regarded. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people were pretty excited when they were coming out with the series, and then I heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, yeah, wasn't really living up to our expectations and stuff." So I almost wonder if I wouldn't be better off watching the miniseries first and then reading the book, since most people seem to think that the miniseries is inferior. And the reason I say that is because there are other instances where the book was so fucking phenomenal, and then they came out with a miniseries that was so vastly fucking inferior that it kind of ruined it all for me. So
save it.
Oh, it's coming up in the next episode.
In our conclusion,
yeah,
Larry's gonna lose it.
Oh man, yeah, we'll get to that. Everybody's gonna be like, I wonder what he's talking about if you haven't figured it out yet. As we said, this is just going on so long. We're gonna have to do this in installments. I think we're going to cut it off here. We'll go decade by decade. So we've covered 2 whole decades. Again, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to go find a copy of Secret Window and piss all over it. And no, I'm not. I'll watch it again. I'll give it another chance. I can't promise.
And then if not, you can use it as a coaster.
I can't promise I'm going to like it. But yeah, we will be back. We're going to take a break-a-roo, and then we're going to come back, and come back, make sure you check out part 3, and we will be talking about the 2010s, basically the rest of the movies and books and miniseries from then until tomorrow, essentially. Because,
and then in 10 years from now, or 11 years from now, we'll talk
20s.
about
you never know. Hey, you never know. We might still be around in 10 years from now.
Stephen King, I don't know, but his
man.
books will always be here.
Jeez. Talk about that's a grim way to end.
Grim at the end.
Getting
here.
a little depressing Stephen King ending on it.
Stephen King.
Way to go, man. Jeez. All right.
But then we'll move on to the Dean Koontz retrospective, and that'll be great too.
That'd be cool. That would be cool. You guys still got to talk about Rollins.
Yeah. Fuck, I'm like 3 books behind now.
Yeah,
on this
I'm
Sigma
pretty behind
Force.
on him.
Yeah, oh boy, we're gonna start Geeking Rainbow soon. Our book retrospective thing. People be like laughing, going, "Oh, Geeking Rainbow." No, we're dead serious.
I'm not kidding.
We're doing it, man. We're doing it.
Amazing.
I'm gonna split,
and
then we'll be back.
All right, Jack.
Part 3.